You ever see a shadow out of the corner of your eye? Have you ever had that feeling that something or someone is watching you? Do you ask yourself why these spirits are here? What do they want? Are they lost? Or are they trapped? I'm Ryan, and I run a paranormal group called Nuclear Soul Seekers. These are just some of the questions we ask when we do an investigation. We just don't try to get evidence of the paranormal. We try to get answers.
Where's the lady from upstairs one keeping you here?
You're listening to Trapped Souls.
Hey, welcome to Trap Souls. You're listening to another episode of Deadspace. I'm here with my friend, my boy, Reed. He went on our last adventure, Madison Seminary. It was his first, real paranormal investigation.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll talk about that a little bit. But what I want to get into is, what was your first paranormal experience that kind of got you into wanting to investigate?
Yeah, sure. So, when you're a kid, you think you hear and see a lot of things, but you never really know until something real happens to you, right? And I was always a believer in, if you don't see it, how do you believe it? My dad always beat that into me, not in the abusive father kind of way, but
Yeah.
But I had a apartment in Conneaut, Ohio, and it was an old mansion that was divided into like 7 different apartments, and we had a lot of really weird things happen in that place, from doors opening on their own, footsteps walking up to you on furniture, and then eventually I was assaulted, and that was my final straw in that house. And after that happened, I packed up my stuff and I was out.
So besides that one experience, what was the one experience that you say, yeah, this shit's real?
Besides that, I've never really run into anything that I've experienced that I believe just 100% it's real.
Yeah.
You always see lights flicker on and off, or you'll go to turn on a light switch and the lights are out, the power's out, but then the power comes back on. You get a weird feeling, you think you hear something in a house, but there's always a reason for it.
Yeah. So it's your one experience. Is that the reason you wanted to investigate, or?
Yeah. So I, watch a lot of shows. I watch a lot of haunting shows. The Haunting was a big show I binged all the time. And I wanted to actually experience it, because before I was hit in that apartment, I never thought anything could hurt you, like physically. Because you're always told, yeah, you can, you'll see things, you'll hear things, but it can't hurt you. Well, then when I found out that it can hurt you, it opened my eyes up in 2 different ways. There was, hey, something can hurt you, so let's check it out. And then there was, something can hurt you, so be more aware. So in a way, it kind of made me want to run towards it. On the other hand, it made me respect it, because we used to go on, ghost hunts as kids, like in a basement or a family member's house. And we'd go around asking questions. Our phones would die, something like that. And be, the paranormal. And my cousin would always go around and scream at it, swear at it, try to make a point. And after what happened to me, I was like, that's not the approach to go to when you're actually looking at spirits. One, you don't want to disrespect them. Two, I know they can hurt you now.
Yeah, that's the big thing when you're younger. You always see these people like yelling at them or whatever. And that's not the way to go about it. You do have to respect them. If you have a healthy respect, hopefully they respect you. In your instance, 99% of paranormal stuff won't hurt you. You just had bad luck, I guess.
Right.
But you can go into an area that there's a bad spirit there. Doesn't mean it's demonic. It's just, I always say that, like, everybody thinks a bad spirit is demonic. Like, it's going to possess you or whatever. We all know as living that there's assholes.
Right.
So how come there can't be an asshole ghost?
Yeah.
And I always tell people, like, well, this person's doing this, or this spirit's doing this, must be evil. If you die and become a spirit, trapped in between, would you mess with your friends?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to, like I was mentioning before, but a respect factor. So a lot of these movies and shows you see always starts out with, the couple moving into a new house, and little did they know. But I think a lot of it is, they're going to protect what was last theirs, or that's just how they lived. I don't know how it works on the other side, but I would assume there's some kind of connection factor that they're still going to go on with their daily activities even though they're gone.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people argue that. It's an argument that a lot of people have that, like, if someone passed in this house and this is their house, they built it, they remodeled it. But when you start changing stuff, it becomes more active because that's not the way they're used to it.
Right.
But it also could be like residual. Do they know they're dead? Or are they just going about their daily lives? Like, maybe they don't see us. And they're just going about their daily lives. We'll never know.
Right.
But when you start remodeling stuff and all that, that's usually when stuff gets active because you're changing their house. It was always their house.
Right.
So, especially like back in the day, like you had families live, a married couple live in the same house for, 70 years. And now someone new comes in and like, oh, well, nice wallpaper. Like, no, we're going to take the wallpaper down. Or I want a door here or whatever. So it could.
Well, that and how long ago it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, house was built in the 1800s or, even respectfully the late 1700s, and how are they going to deal with you coming in and you have washing machines now and dishwashers and stuff, and they've never seen anything like that. So
That's one thing I never really understood. Like, we go to all these, like, do these investigations, and we're like, hey, there's a REM pod here. They have no idea what a freaking REM pod is. Like, they didn't have batteries back in the day. Like, it's kind of stupid. Like, hey, talking to my cell phone. They're like,
right.
what the hell is that?
And, to lead into, my first investigation with you guys, we went to the seminary in Madison, and you guys use a bunch of equipment that I've never seen before, except for maybe a couple things on a show or something. And you mentioned talking into these, spirit boxes and so forth. And I wouldn't even know, as somebody that watches ghost shows, what that even means.
Yeah.
So when you guys are asking them, I don't even know if they would know what you're talking about. And then some people get kind of aggressive with it,
Yeah.
If you're not afraid, talk to me in this box or whatnot. And
Yeah.
a big thing that I don't really care for is you go into these haunted houses, like at the seminary. I get that, you kind of build up the rooms and stuff to how you imagine it, like Sarah's room, and people donate and they drop off dolls and stuff like that. But to me, when you put demonic looking dolls and propaganda into a house, it kind of takes away from the authenticity, I mean, that's just the way I look at it, but I also get the point of maybe it's something they can talk through or move, but I'm not sure.
I mean, I think that's why I like EVP so much. It's a recorder, and it's just a red light. You can talk into that red light. And usually I don't say that. I just try to have conversations with someone that's maybe there or not there. And the EVPs pick up a different, we can't hear it, but the recorder can. And you listen to my podcast. We do get a lot of EVPs.
Right.
And so I think that's something, instead of like the spirit box, maybe they don't know what AM, FM is.
Right.
Or they use that energy. You got dowsing rods and all that. But, the recorder is just recording. They don't know. They're trying to talk to you, but they don't have the strength.
Right.
To say those words out loud where you can hear them. And we go back and we'll be able to hear them. So that's why I'm an EVP junkie. I mean, I love EVPs. And that's probably my main thing I always use. I mean, you saw me at Madison. I mean,
oh, yeah.
That's all I did. I didn't do Spirit Box. I didn't do SS Method. I didn't do dowsing rods. Like, I just carry a recorder around everywhere. That's why, I barely do video. I'm not a big fan of video. Too much crap. So many people have pictures out there. So many people have videos of shadow. But you can't see behind what's actually creating that shadow. Is it cool? Yeah. I think EVPs are a way to go. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always do.
Yeah, and that was a big thing that I brought up to you when, we've worked together for years, but I never got into this until you had an opening to go into Madison. And a big thing that I can't stand when you watch these ghost huntings. It's things we talked about before off the record, but I can't stand when people get crazy and they start saying they're hearing these crazy things, and then you play back the audio. And I mean, even the stuff that you guys play, I can barely hear what you guys are talking about because I'm too new. But when you start watching these ghost shows and without, disclaimers on what the shows are out there, every episode someone gets possessed or someone gets assaulted or, they hear these crazy screams. But in reality, I like yours because you guys go out there and you guys put out information that could actually be legitimate. And like you've always mentioned, you want to run towards something so you can find out what's going on rather than run away from it or,
I mean, we're there to get answers.
Right.
That's all there is to it. I mean, as a human, you're always going to have that fight or flight factor.
Right.
I mean, that's all it is. And me, I'm always going to run toward it. Not going to lie, there's sometimes I maybe take a couple steps back.
Right.
But,
especially on the initial spook.
Yeah. But I was a sports player, as a competitive player. Like, I take that 2 steps back, and I'm like, yeah, fuck you. Like,
right.
No, I'm going after you.
Hell yeah.
That happened at Trans-Allegheny when I saw that Shadow Man, the gray apparition.
Was that the thing that spooked Bird or something in a cell or?
No, it was actually, I told a story before on the podcast, but we're in a hallway, and we kept hearing noises down the hallway. It was like 20 feet away. There's 2 rooms at the end, and I'm like, we kept hearing stuff. We kept looking. It was me, Bird, and Ashley. I looked over, and this thing came out of the one room, and it was gray. I didn't see clothes or anything, but you can actually tell it stopped and looked at me. Then just walked into the other room. I never had my stomach tighten up so much. But I was like, oh, shit. I wanted to run out. And I was like, no, screw you. And that's why I ran toward it. Stupid. Yeah, whatever. Nothing happened to me. I'm still here, so.
Right.
But it was a cool experience.
Right.
Bird and Ashley actually did not see it. But they felt it when we tried to go in there. So, again, go towards stuff. Try to find answers. That's why we do this.
Right.
We have people in my group that would rather run. Not going to mention names, Sarah, but she's getting better.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was actually really impressed because we joked a lot. I used to work with her too, and we joked a lot going into the seminary. But there were a couple times when I didn't know what was going on, and I looked to her and I said, "Why aren't they doing this?" or "Why are they doing this?" And she gave me a great answer on why. And she held her composure really well. Yeah. I was actually really impressed. So I think she's getting used to it. And I think she's really getting over whatever that fear is, or at least coping with it well to be able to do a full investigation.
I mean, she still has a huge fear, but I think she respects it a little more. I was scared about her caught semi-solo because she's with Carly.
Right.
But Carly's never done anything like this. I don't think she watched ghost shows. What she wanted to do there to be for Sarah. And honestly, that's probably one of the best. Even watching TV, the questions she asked, one of the best investigations I've ever seen anybody do, was when she was up in that attic.
Yeah.
I mean, she took a personal experience, her personal life, because she kept texting me because we were down below.
Yeah, right.
She kept texting me, what do I ask? What do I ask? And I didn't answer because I just want her to do it.
Yeah.
And she took, her being a female in a male-dominant world, which that was.
Right.
And asking those questions. And she did a great job, and she got some good answers. Like, I had someone at work the other day, a new hire, working overtime, came in a cast, and he's like, hey, you do that podcast? And I'm like, maybe. He's like, the one Craig told me about? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's me. He's like, yeah, that's that Madison one. He's like, no. He turned it off after that one EVP with
really?
Sarah. Says, I did that. He's like, I turned it off. Like, I can't even listen to it.
See, you played that 2 or 3 times, and I tried to hear it, and I don't think I'm in tune to it yet, but I couldn't really hear that.
It's probably one of my best EVPs ever.
Okay.
So when I listen to mostly my EVPs, I told people that I'll sit with earbuds in. And when you're listening to this podcast, when we're doing evidence, wear headphones because it's a whole different experience.
Right.
But usually I'll be in my living room, lights off, and I'll just play it. Sometimes I'm playing on my phone because I don't expect to hear anything. Dude, I heard that. I was like, holy shit.
Got it.
I got it. Like, and throughout Madison, talking about being at Madison, there wasn't much after that. After Sarah's, there were some EVPs and we had some experiences. But overall, there wasn't much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad she got to experience that.
Yeah, you mentioned something in, the last podcast I was listening to, and it made a lot of sense that I've never really thought of, was that it was around Halloween. So that place was getting a lot of attention, plus it's becoming a bigger, investigation site.
Yeah.
So I think you made a good point when you said maybe their energies are getting drained by the amount of people in, and they're getting worn out and tired. So that made a good point on why maybe we didn't pull as much. Plus, I have to say, there were so many of us in that building that there was so much movement through that building. I think it was hard to be able to gather as much as you could.
Yeah, I think they had MadCon 7 there, which is a huge event. Getting bigger and bigger every year. Again, which is a great thing that Adam does for everybody. Makes a lot of donations. But with MadCon 7, whatever it was, like 2,000 people going through there. Then we did a week after, and we had 15 people there. It was a lot. I mean, but in the end of it, why we started this group is to give people like you, Baha, Rit, Chelsea, an experience that you wouldn't have an opportunity to do anywhere else.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I went there when they filmed. Am I allowed to mention movie names or no?
Yeah,
copyright reasons. No rights reserved. But The Devil's Toy Box, I went there when they filmed that, and it was super cool because the cast showed me around. I got to meet the characters and everything, and that was neat. But to actually go in and have that little bit of insight, because they gave me a tour on the different floors and stuff, they made a comment that the second and third floor always seemed like it flip-flopped. Yeah. And they would forget what floor they were on. And after the investigation with you guys, I thought I had it down. I was like, no, I know that people said that. But at certain points, like, I didn't even know till the end of the night where, the prop, the Devil's Toy Box even was, until the very end of the night, because I just got flip-flopped so many times between the second and third floor.
Yeah, you guys went to Devil's Toy Box.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, so I didn't go there at all. Not a big fan of it.
Like you said, it's a prop. So
it's a prop. I mean, can something be there? Yeah. I mean, we've had a good Estes methods in there, but that's not the reason I wanted to go there last time. Like, Sarah's room is just, and everybody who's done Sarah's room will probably say the same thing, besides the sensitive people out there. There's no answers. I've been there 7 times, and I've spent a lot of time in Sarah's room. And Adam does some videos too, and he says, like, is there a Sarah? Honestly, I don't think there is. I think Sarah's room is just urban legend.
Yeah.
But, he talked in one of his videos that so many people go in there to try to find Sarah or try to get answers that there may be an old lady next door that's like, just comes across like, hey, I'm Sarah. And that's where people get.
Right.
Like, I've never really got a definite answer if this is Sarah. We've had some good action in there. We did that toward the end of the night.
Right, yeah.
But, I mean, nothing really say that there is a Sarah. Like, they say it's a little girl. They say it's a demonic energy, which nothing even close. I mean, if there's a demonic energy named Sarah that, for how many times I investigated that room, I would have known it's a demonic energy. And if it is, Sarah, if you're listening, try me out next time. I'm
it's
game.
Your boy Ryan.
Yeah, I'm game. Like, I'm cool for some scratches. Could it be, or it could be an old lady with dementia that thinks she's a young girl. No one knows. I don't think there's really much in there besides maybe a couple of spirits that jump in and out. That's
right.
We're doing
haunted bourbon tonight.
Haunted bourbon, another bourbon night for our Kentucky friends.
Yeah, I'll tell you the 2 spots that really stood out to me. So nothing actually jumped out at me really that I felt anything big. The only place I felt awkward were 2 locations, and that was in the attic space at the very top, okay. And then if you went to where I believe the insane residents were
Psychiatric.
kept. All the way at the very end of the hallway on the left-hand side, there was a small room. And there were about 3 of us standing over there, and we could hear scratching on the walls. And, you hear scratching, you think, okay, there's another group. There were like 12 groups running around that night. Someone's either underneath us or on the other side of the wall, and they're just doing an investigation. They're scratching, they're knocking. And Rit went down to check underneath of us to see if you could pull up a sound. He came back up. He's like, oh, okay, I heard you guys knocking while you were down there, so I think that's what it was. And we were like, Rit, we weren't knocking. We were waiting for you to knock. And he was like, he went back down to check it out again. And then we heard more noises when we all split up in the different rooms up there. So I think that room definitely has a feel to it. And then I had a second feel where we were in the Civil War section. And I think it was the second floor. And one of the rooms had a Ouija board sitting there. And then that's when I came back to you and I was like, hey, there's a Ouija board up on the second floor. Did you know that? And you were like, So those were the 2 rooms I got a little feel for. And I think Ba even got a feel for that Civil War room.
That's funny because Baja went there a couple weeks after.
Oh, did he really?
He took his son.
Good for him.
His son's really big. Like, he's young. I don't know his exact age, but he went on Amazon, bought a little paranormal kit, but they actually went to the flashlight tour there, and they had a lot of action.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, good. Then maybe that got him more into it, because I know he really enjoyed it, and when me and him and Rit and you were running around, it was kind of nice because, my thing was, I didn't want anything fake. I wanted everything to be known, and you'll see a lot of these shows where every noise is paranormal.
Yeah.
And every time that I had the equipment and my belly gurgled or something, or you said don't be like Bird and nose breathe or whatever.
Yeah, nose breathing sucks.
So every time my belly gurgled or something, I looked at Rit and I went, that was my belly.
So you did that in Sarah's room. I don't remember the exact EVP, but there was something besides your belly.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard you say that, but I couldn't take it if it was maybe that you heard something from me in the room or if it was a misspoke or...
No, there was actually something else because Rit was... So I met Rit a couple of days after that, and he asked me, he's like, dude, that wasn't Reed's stomach. Like, you have to go over the EVP, and I did.
Now, was it Sarah's room or was it the room that you went in the closet and you were like, things felt a little weird when I came out of the closet here,
no,
which was
Sarah.
the other side?
It was Sarah's room.
Okay.
Because I remember you saying, we're sitting on the bed, and Rit was sitting in that chair. And Rit's like, did you hear that? And you're like, oh, that was my belly.
Oh, okay.
So, no, there was something there.
No shit.
So, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to it again, because I remember the podcast you said it. But I think it'll be big. I think sometime soon we need to get a small group to go do another one there. Maybe next year, whatever you guys are planning. But just something small to move around in a non-energetic time frame.
I've been looking, trying to get that before the end of the year. It's just, time and work and all that fun stuff. But life. The biggest issue is it's cold.
Right.
Madison's not heated. Maybe a little bit, but it's not heated. But the first time before we were at group, I picked Madison because I really never got anything out of that place. Sarah was scared. Lane and Aaron are always freaked out. I mean, they're better now. So I'm like, let's do Madison's right down the street. It was cold out. I think it was like February or March. Probably February because it was like 20 degrees in there. It was active as shit. That's probably the most active besides Bel Air House.
Do you think the temperature has something to do with it?
I don't know. That's why I want to do it again when it's cold. I want to find out. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe temperature does have something to do with it. Or maybe it's just because we had Aaron, we had Lane, we had Sarah, that they were freaked out. Because everybody knows I believe fear brings out some spirits, especially bad spirits.
It's an interesting concept.
So I think when you have someone that is scared, as a spirit, you're like, yeah, let's go mess with these people. It's going to be fun tonight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's...
Do you think it makes them more powerful to where they can be physical, or do you think it's just a presence thing, or a temperature change, or what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think the fear whole thing is, I mean, as I said, I mean, if you died, and I talked to my neighbor about this. He had a lot of experiences when he was young. But anyways, he had a lot of experience. Paralysis. Sleep paralysis. And he saw a lot of stuff when he was young. Got choked a lot when he was trying to sleep.
Oh, wow.
And he is scared shitless about this stuff. And I'm like, could it just be like your buddy? And he's like, what? I'm like, dude, like, listen, you're a goofball too, dude. Like, if you died and you can haunt people, would you fuck with people? He's like, hell yeah. I'm like, okay, well, think about it.
Right.
You know, not everybody thinks spirits are like just cut and dry. Like, you have the lady in white that floats around that misses her kid, and that's all she cares about. But, you know, we're human. Like, we like to have fun too. So if you're dead,
I don't think there's one of us that wouldn't mess with Bird.
oh, dude, I would.
Oh,
Bird.
He would get 2 hours of sleep a night, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be dressed up as a
clown.
Love
you, Bird.
Yeah. I'd be dressed up as a clown. You know.
We all float in here, Bird.
Yeah. You know, we all done that. Like, if I die, you know, or, you know, I thought about, like, if I got sick and I knew I was going to pass, you know, which would suck. But, you know, being at work, I have a lot of friends. You know, there's 100-some people there. Like, I'd probably write a letter saying, hey, you know, this is my last day. You know, sorry, you know, stuff happens, life happens. But Bird, I'm going to haunt the fuck out of you, you know. I'd have to. I mean,
you have no choice.
You have no choice.
You really don't.
I might just stay on this earth just to haunt Bird.
It's noted, Bird.
It's noted.
It's noted.
So when you hear that knock, Bird, in 20, hopefully 40 years, when you hear that knock, it's me, dude. But the way you look, you'll be haunting me way before I haunt you. So, no, I mean. But, I mean, think about it. I mean, why does everybody think everything's cut and dry?
Right.
I mean, there has to be some goofball spirits out there. I mean, I'd have fun.
How could there not be?
Yeah. I mean,
it's their personality when they left, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a spirit is, right? Your internal spirit. So
their energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's so like, oh, this lady just walked around looking for a kid the whole time. Or
right.
This kid's just looking for its mom. I'm like, dude, it's a kid. Wants to have fun, wants to play.
And I think that's where, like, you see a lot in the movies where they exaggerate it, but there has to be some kind of old storyline to it. But where even they talk about Sarah's room, where it's potentially, you know, a demon representing a little girl. But you see in the movies all the time where it shows a child, but it's a demon actually puppeting a child. So definitely possibilities. Now I don't know from what I experienced from my 2 times at that location. You know, once investigating, once just, you know, doing a tour. I don't feel there's any demonic energies at Madison, but
no, I mean,
not to shadow. I mean, there was a lot of bad things that happened there. I mean, you look into the history; it was nasty.
Yeah, it was nasty. And that's why the attic is, because mostly happened in the attic,
right?
And you know, you hear Sarah's like little video I made of her and her investigation. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff. And Project Fear went up there. They got some stuff it's sad. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like the stuff they did, and I talked about it in my one podcast. Like,
right.
We treated psychiatric patients, and you know, the poorhouse.
Right.
They're guinea pigs. That's all they were.
Yeah.
And it was a money thing. That's all it was. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. A doctor came in and did lobotomies all the time.
Right.
Like, whoever thought, like, driving a freaking screw into your head, pounding it with a hammer was a good idea.
Well, it was revolutionary then, too. They were doing it everywhere.
But it never worked. It didn't work with the first person.
Right.
Why would we work with, I mean, we were stupid back in the day.
And, I mean, they did all that stuff during the World Wars when they had, you know, prisoners of war. So it's how we get to where we are with modern medicine, even though nobody wants to talk about it. Things we won't talk about on this podcast, but...
But, I mean, like, driving a spike in someone's eye, like, come on. If it didn't work the first 1,000 times, it's not going to work 1,001.
Yeah.
But that was our belief. Like, they really thought it would do whatever it was supposed to do, make him sane, which, no, they're insane for a reason. Besides Madison, I mean, what else in Madison that...
They did, like you mentioned, we went into, me and Bird actually went, they have a sound chamber on the second floor.
Yeah, I didn't go in there.
Yeah, so I found there was a sound chamber with a plaque in front of it on the second floor, and I asked Ryan what it was, and he said it was a piece of prop that they added to the building. So it has no spiritual reasoning to it, but what it does is you go inside and you start it, and you sit inside of a room with two different frequency sounds, and it's pitch black when you're in there. And after 15 minutes, I think the time frame is when you come out, you're supposed to be more sensitive to what's going on in the building. And I'll tell you, we sat in it for about, I know we didn't do the whole thing, 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And, that was long enough for me to sit in a room with Bird in the dark. So yeah. We went out and we didn't feel there was any difference. So I think it's just a prop. But that and the Devil's Toy Box is just a prop. So if anybody's listening to this to get information from Madison, I don't want to stray you away from doing those things because they're fun, but they're not the historical haunting things for Madison.
But with that, I mean, it's a good idea, trying to increase your senses.
Right.
I mean, it's a prop, but that's, the SS method is the same concept, like your headphones on, blindfolded, so you use one sense. So it could work. Try it out. Let me know. I didn't go in there. I saw that they built that right before MadCon 7. Kind of excited. Hopefully I have MadCon 8 off. It'd be cool to go to see all those people. So coming up, we are going to be doing Ross House.
Yeah, pretty excited for that.
So Ross House is in Bel Air, Ohio. As you know, it's my last not the last one. A few podcasts before we did Bel Air. I actually got 3 podcasts out of that.
Wow.
I mean, we did 2. I had a lot of evidence. We ended up doing 2. Then Erin had her recorder. I went over that. I'm like, so we got to do a 3rd because there's a lot of stuff. If you ever get a chance to go to Bel Air House, do it. We'll let you know about Ross House coming up. Obviously, everybody knows I don't do any history of the place. First time when I go there, I don't get a walkthrough. I don't do anything because I don't want to be influenced by stories. So the first time we're going to go there, we're going to go in blind, like I like calling it. Do a couple solos right off the bat before anybody even walks in there. Erin and I are going to do a solo. I gave her a choice, second floor or basement. She chose second floor. That's her choice. She's going to have to live with it. Basement, I'm going to do. And that's before Tegan, Reed, Chelsea, Craig even step foot in that house. We're going to go in and do this in the dark and see how it goes. I mean, hopefully we get some good stuff. A lot of people get a lot of stuff out of Ross House. I was asked. It was on Facebook. Someone mentioned Bel Air, and I said, yeah, you got to do this. It's a cool place because they were talking about Ross House. Then they were talking about, is Ross House connected to Bel Air? It's only a mile away. Is it possible? They think the Mimic, which I know is in Bel Air, can portal through to Ross House.
Really? Like not like an underground railroad type thing, but like a portal dimension thing?
Yeah. Because supposedly Bel Air has 7 portals.
Okay.
So with it being very much, around downtown and a lot of history, is it possible that the Mimic can go back and forth? I don't know. We're going to find out.
Yeah, so that was a big thing for me is, when you invited me to go do the Ross House, you guys mentioned it at the Madison Seminary, and I was kind of biting my tongue. I didn't want to invite myself, so I waited, and when you messaged me, you're like, hey, do you want to go? I jumped all over it because I want to do as many as I can, and I'm kind of like you in the aspect of, I've had a past with this stuff, so if it happens, I want to run towards it because I already know that it can hit me, so we'll see what it does, but I'm not afraid of it. But I wanted to go in like you do, so I wanted to go in. I haven't researched it. The most I did was I distanced it. I think it's like 2.5 hours from us, so it'll be a nice road trip.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's a small location because I believe it's just a home.
It's a home. It's actually attached to an antique store.
Okay.
So the second floor actually has a door from the... I looked at some pictures.
Yeah.
And I saw, I think Q2 or whatever, Paranormal Group did it.
Okay.
They're on Facebook. She did like a walkthrough before. And I think the second floor has a door into like, again, I'm not sure, but it looks like the overload of the antiques. Stuff can carry into possession.
Sure.
To objects.
Yeah.
And that's why I gave Aaron the choice. Like, I saw pictures of the basement. I can tell you right now, Aaron wasn't walking down in that basement.
No.
Why?
Just too much stuff?
It looks like a dungeon.
Okay.
It's old.
Okay.
It's an old, 120-year-old basement.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling the second floor is going to be a little more active in the basement. We'll find out. I mean, we're going to do... So it's going to be neat. We're going to actually go Facebook Live, do this, do Ross House, do our solos. Then we're going to do a podcast. It won't be a live podcast. You guys won't hear it after, but you'll get the right after feelings of Aaron and I. Then we'll do some other stuff and we'll do more podcasts.
Yeah.
I think it'll be kind of an experiment. Someone asked me, with it being connected, if we can do a podcast on Ross House too. So hopefully it's connected, and I am working on doing our big trip next year, like I talked about. I think I might add Ross House and Bel Air on the same night.
Yeah, and I'd just say I'd be biting my tongue waiting for the invite for that one too. So if anybody in this group decides they don't want to make it to that.
So Reed. So, we're doing Ross House, and, I always like to get, some people down there. So I finally texted him, like, hey, you interested in Ross House? His text, I wish I should bring it up, was like, I've been waiting for this text since Madison.
You're not wrong.
Like, he's just sitting by his phone for 3 months waiting for this text.
3 months just watching my phone, waiting for that text to come through.
He doesn't know yet, but there's a reason why he's going to Ross House.
Oh, there's a reason?
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Not for Ross House itself, but for the group itself.
Okay. There's a surprise.
It is a surprise. I'm not going to tell you now.
Oh, that's fine. I like a surprise.
Yeah. So you just have to wait and see what happens.
Okay. I have to bring jerky, you told me, so I know that. Does beef jerky have anything to do with the surprise, or?
It helps.
It helps. Okay.
What kind of jerky, though?
Noted. I know you like the cheese-filled...
Oh,
yeah, you do.
Jerky, that's smoky.
I know, but that's what you always brought in the cast, so...
Yeah, hillbilly jerky.
Hillbilly, okay. I know you said that, but I didn't know if there was a hillbilly jerky or if it was all the same, but you were just calling us hillbillies out there in Trumbull.
Think of Craig.
Craig, oh, okay. Fair.
Craig jerky.
Fair.
Okay.
I have to ride with Craig. I'll be riding with Craig down there.
You'll be riding back with me, though. So
okay.
We'll go fast on the way back. So.
Fair. I'm in the back in the fetal position from my surprise. We'll be riding back with Feaster.
All right, well, you got the meat read. You'll be hearing from Ross House. Then I'd like to thank you for listening to Trap Souls. Obviously, comment on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, Trap Souls. You can follow us also on Nuclear Soul Seekers. That is our group. And you can always email me, trapsouls0@gmail.com. Polo.
Talk about your merch. Talk about your merch. We
Merch
got merch. Ryan's got merch.
If you want a shirt, hit me up. Also, for all the other groups out there that do listen, I need some group stickers because I'm going to put those up in my podcast room. We're going to start doing video podcasts. People want me to do video podcasts for some reason. I don't even have a face for radio.
The face.
But we're going to do video.
the face behind the radio.
Yeah. Aaron always says, oh, you should see Ryan's face. So people are like, well, you should do a video podcast. I'm like, yeah, okay. No, we're going to start doing video podcasts, put that out there. So, if you want, send a sticker to me, drop me an email. I'll throw some merch at you. And I just want to get all the groups that are on Facebook. They're awesome. You know who you are. I always talk to you or respond to you. Throw me a sticker. I'll throw it up behind our little wall for podcasts, and we'll go from there. Again, thank you for listening to Trap Souls, another episode of Deadspace. As Aaron always says, stay spooky.